Greetings, YouTube and Twitch. This is the Quirky Bard,
Master One.
the Fully Suited Jacks, and this is probably going to be our first majorly political podcast. This is unscripted, off the cuff. We kind of have a idea of what the discussion we want to discuss, but we don't really have a script beyond this. And
We just got bullet points.
exactly this is going to be our first majorly political discourse. Something which, with Gilded Guardian or one with Gilded Guardian, we couldn't do really. So let's go and get into it.
So the big thing that's been on the Twitter news for days was Dr. Disrespect getting banned, and no one knows why. And there's just controversies going on about his sudden ban.
Yeah, I don't. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know much about Doctor Disrespect, so this isn't the same with me as it would be for you. Being majorly on Twitch, I'm starting to kind of branch out into other platforms, and especially podcasting. But why don't you give us a little bit of for those of us who don't know, can you give us a little bit of a description about what Doctor Disrespect does?
He was a Fortnite player at one point, and he was the one that went to TwitchCon and was filming, live streaming people in the restroom, and that's got him banned once before.
What?
So he's had his encounters.
Wait. He was live streaming people. Like, what were they doing in the restrooms?
He was just live streaming people in the restroom, and there were little kids in there too, and that got him in trouble at one point. That is the same Doctor Disrespect.
Oh fuck. Yeah. That's danger. That is red light danger.
That is the same man. Hello, Zuhan. Welcome to the first ever podcast stream that I am doing. Let me move the chat down a bit. Where are ya? Twitch chat, where is it? Chat box. Oh, I see you. Let's move you down, like right here in the middle.
I do love this light. That I can just change the color. So I can do this. Danger, Will Robinson. Danger.
So, welcome to the first ever Fully Suited Jacks podcast. This is
welcome.
In terms of we actually got something going. This is my first streaming podcast that I've ever done. I've never gotten into political issues on Twitch or any Twitch drama of sort, but I feel like it needs to be talked about nonetheless. Like, even if it's Dr. Disrespect, he's banned on Twitch, and I feel like that is a complicated issue that's how do I say it? It's a complicated issue for Dr. Disrespect, and he's put out a statement.
Yeah. Oh, he's put out a statement? Oh,
yeah.
That's gonna be interesting.
Let me read it to you guys. Dr. Disrespect, Champion Clubs. Twitch has not notified me on the specific reason behind their decision. Firm handshakes to all for the support during this difficult time. Dr. Disrespect. So even he doesn't know.
Yeah, which means it could be that much more serious. Because if he doesn't know, then honestly, I mean, he could just be very well. He might have an idea, but he doesn't want to say it.
Oh, I mean, his last stream. People said that he might have saw his ban coming, which I've seen his clips of the last stream like minutes before he got banned, and people are saying like, oh, he acted very weird and probably saw the ban coming his way.
Yeah, I could see that happening.
Which I think, like, you know, there's not much to discuss about because there's no allegation. It's still up in the air. This could be talked about weeks from now once there's more fresh news about Dr. Disrespect's ban.
Yeah, it could very well just be a sort of a preventative measure. Like they might not know, they might be doing investigations about what's going on in the community, so they might not have a definitive answer, but they're holding on to investigations that way. That's like, okay, we know this is wrong, we know this is right, so we could see Dr. Disrespect's ban lifted, or it could just end up going back to being full ban.
Why is this just chatting? Let me
Yeah.
let me change this over. This shouldn't be in just chatting. Twitch. Hey, talk show and political.
Honestly, I had an
Talk show and podcast. There we go.
Yeah.
There is the right. We're in the right category now.
Honestly, I think we should have a new name for these. For these podcasts. I think we should call it, well, it was this kind of interesting thing I did when I was growing up, and especially when I was in the Navy, these kind of little fun little skits I called Talk Warrior.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's kind of like, almost like, it feels like it's a more fitting name for what we're doing.
Talk Warriors.
The Talk Warriors.
This should be an ongoing thing. Like, if there's more people that want to join in on their point of view on politics, no matter if they're Democrat or conservative or not, we want to see both sides of the story. It's not just because me and Jake are heavily Democrat doesn't mean we just want to be one-sided on every story.
Well, we're definitely, I would say we're definitely both progressives on that regard. Now, again, I would like to hear different sides of different takes, but there's going to have to be some limits to that. Obviously, we can't get to, honestly, you drop JQ, that's it.
This sort of can jump into the next topic of banned Twitch streamers.
Oh, yeah.
Of the offline TV house, Fedmeister. His allegation towards Lily Pichu and Yvonne. What do you think? Do you think Twitch should ban him because of his sexual misconduct with his female roommates?
Yeah, for me it's kind of a squeaky situation with that one. Again, I'm not very familiar with entirely about the offline TV. I mean, I do know of them, and I do know of one of the people who makes the really crazy machines. So it's
Michael Reeves. He joined offline TV. He joined offline TV 6 months ago, and he is new to the offline TV house. But the thing is, Fedmeister is one of the roommates, and since I'm a big watcher of offline TV, and Fed is their, what do you call it? Fed was their editor for a good year and a half of the offline TV house before he became his own thing.
Yeah.
And he sexually harassed Lily Pichu, who's the girlfriend of Michael Reeves and Yvonne. And this blew up just yesterday, and I wanted something to talk about because I feel like this is news in terms of what do you call it? The Me Too movement from 2017 has now caught fire onto the Twitch platform.
Yeah, it's like basically, I mean, a lot of people go, "Well, it was acceptable." It's like, no, it was never acceptable. The thing is that these behaviors were never acceptable, truly acceptable. It's just that the times being different only because it was basically the power structures are different. Basically, that's really what it comes down to, is that the power structures were that much different. Is that things that were truly should not have been acceptable were, just simply because There was nothing anybody can really do about it. I mean, think about it. This is the reason why divorce rates went high, when the divorce rates skyrocketed after the 1950s, when women were given the ability to do so.
I feel like, was it? Because I've been heavily invested in the offline TV the whole offline TV gaming house. Like, think of them, like, if you've never heard of offline TV, think of them as like the Phase House or whatever YouTube houses there are. They're that, but they're Twitch streamers.
Kind of like, let's say, the Markiplier group.
Yeah, it's like the Markiplier group where they live with each other, but the Twitch house, the offline TV is like the offshoot of a YouTube house, but they're Twitch streamers. There's maybe some of them are YouTubers, but some of them fully transitioned into being Twitch streamers.
Yeah, does Michael Reeves still make films or YouTube videos?
He still makes YouTube videos, but he's been streaming now.
Yeah.
So
eventually,
like the whole.
No, go ahead.
So like his Michael Reeves joining is going to still keep the offline TV house afloat.
Mm-hmm.
But what Fed has done to Lily Pichu and Yvonne is gonna stay.
Oh, yeah.
It's sexual harassment. These girls are gonna be traumatized. Like, this is big news stuff right here. Influencer. Most people thought that were untouchable. Fed has now been dethroned.
Yeah. I mean, not only that. I mean, even if it were, let's say, sorry, I gave myself a little bit more height. Even let's say that wasn't the case with everything going on. I mean, that's still, even if Pokemon, yeah, no. Sorry, Lily Pichu and Yvonne forgive Fed, that's still got to deal with the boyfriend. Fed's still got to deal with that.
Was it? His, let's see here. In both their two statements, Yvonne and Lily Pichu has said that Pokimane has encountered the same problem, but they said it's her story to put out a statement. If she doesn't and she wants to protect Fed, she doesn't need to do it. So even Pokimane, one of the biggest Twitch streamers, no, not the biggest Twitch streamer, she's the biggest female Twitch streamer, has gotten involved in this Fed situation.
I've only known Pokimane from one video, and that was Markiplier and Jacksepticeye playing Uno with her.
I'm gonna guess that this is around the time when Fed was probably making the sexual misconduct, because she's usually hanging around in the offline TV house. For her to go to the hang out with the Markiplier's gang, that should have been something.
Well, no, I think this is podcast, because this has happened relatively recently, and with everything happening with COVID-19, it would have been an easy way for her to get out. So it would have just been podcast.
Oh, true. Just them playing Uno.
Mm-hmm. Along with John. Yeah, along with Joff. Along with Jacksepticeye, which I did a poor. Yeah.
I mean, I want to keep this like a good hour-long podcast. We're only up at 15 minutes. We might have to make stuff up as we go, because we're already blowing through the two topics.
Well, hang on. We haven't blown through them yet. And honestly, how's your Twitch stream doing? How many, who, are there any, people on, asking questions? We can always take questions.
There's one person watching. There's no questions being thrown right now.
Well, like I said, to me, I mean, there's a lot of things that are going on with the Me Too movement is definitely kicking off, and it's not. I mean, Oh God! Remember Matt Lauer?
Yeah.
This is a guy. I mean, this is a guy who they. Oh my God! Just such cartoonish villainry. I mean, this is a guy that's like, yeah, I got a button underneath my desk that I'm gonna push and lock you in here with me. It reminds me of Will Ferrell's character in Land of the Lost. Matt Lauer can suck it. There's that one.
Like, this was all Twitch. Like, you, on the other hand, you're very invested in the YouTube community. So this was very, like, what do you call it? This wasn't your forte in terms of, this was all Twitch week in terms of all the news that's coming out. Like,
Well, I'm really not much. I'm not that big into YouTube or Twitch at all. I'm really not much into communities like Twitter or Facebook and whatnot. I mean, I visit them frequently, but I'm not really as engaged as most people my age would be. I'm a very poor excuse for a millennial. I can't even eat avocado toast. I don't have avocado toast.
so, now that you did bring up the topic of the COVID-19, the ongoing pandemic, and the Black Lives Matter protests. So there's these white supremacists and Trumpers saying that, oh, what do you call it? The numbers are rising because the BLM protests, but don't you realize well, these people, these mouth breathers are literally going to Trump rallies, not following social distancing, and not wearing masks. So who are they to blame when they tell Black Lives Matter protests that it's them?
Well, I mean, this is the thing too. This is kind of where we're kind of.
You're muted.
Ah. Give me a second.
Muted. I can't hear you.
Okay. Crap.
Oh, you're deafened. Hello?
Oh, hello?
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Testing. Why is this not working? Did something happen?
My internet cut out.
I can't hear you on my side.
Crap.
Should we...
Okay. Try it now.
Say it again since you were muted.
Try it now.
Hello.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
You were muted. Yep.
Okay, so that's the webcam. That's the backup. That's the webcam with. That's the webcam camera. Is it a noticeable difference?
Are you on mic on the webcam?
The webcam. There's a USB camera on the webcam.
You mean a mic on the webcam?
Yes.
I'd say use the actual.
Okay. Can you hear me?
All right. Yeah, that's a lot clearer.
Okay, so yeah, sorry, my internet sucks. So it kind of cut out briefly, and it's just like, no.
All right. So did you hear what I said?
I got the second half of it about the mouth breathers.
Should I say it again?
I'm thinking what you were saying was something about Black Lives Matter spreading the virus.
Yeah, and these people that are Trump supporters and anti-vaxxers are saying that it's the Black Lives Matter protests from 2 weeks ago that is spreading the virus. But I've read on statistics and actual governors saying that there's less numbers coming out from the protests than people not wearing masks. So yet these people are still blaming the minority.
Well, as big as Jose, one of the bread tubers that I watch, so eloquently put it, racists only have one solution. It's never their fault. It's never. Racism is the cure to all their ills. It is never the problem. And that's kind of the biggest difference between, let's say, the left versus the right. Is that the left is looking for a long-term solution, something that helps everybody out. Meanwhile, the right, they look for quick and easy fixes, and it doesn't always work. Like I said, it's the whole, they're all going on about, oh, it's the Black Lives Matter, but they're wearing the masks, they're keeping as far away as they possibly can. I mean, the protests are still going on, and here's the thing, they're starting to get back to the bad with the police. It's just...
Like, let's see here. Yesterday, there was a African American kid, 18 years old, unarmed, got shot and killed by San Diego police. And this sparked outrage in San Diego. This is a city that's like an hour and a half from where I live. So
Yeah.
It's still going on. And yet there's people that are still ignoring that these police are doing police brutality. And yet it still gets thrown under the rug.
Well, basically, the problem is that conservatives are there's a very specific power structure when it comes to the conservatives. And with conservatives, authority is to be obeyed. And that's kind of why they're all, to them, the laws aren't meant to dissuade or to they're not meant to dissuade or to rehabilitate. Everything is meant to punish. It is your fault for not following the rules. Therefore, we will instill the discipline you lack. I mean, I know this is all kind of reductionist to a degree, but there is a sense of truth to it. It's the fact that you're dealing with a group of people that are all about tradition. And it's a literal cult. I mean, take a look at Roosh V. Roosh V, the I wrote bang. It's like the pickup artistry guy. The guy that's practically started a career in it. That guy. The guy that had that tried to have a meetup of rape apologists under yeah. There's an entire video. I forgot who did it. Of H-Bomber guy. He did a video of it. That guy is awesome. Yeah.
To anybody who is like at least watching, there's one person on here watching.
Hello.
If like this is very political to you, this is just our point of view. This is what we believe in. Like, just what do you call it? Just listen with an open ear. Like,
Yeah.
It shouldn't be because he said that, like, I should unfollow this Twitch guy. It's just, I just want to state my political view because of what is going on. A lot of people come to Twitch to, what do you call it, play video games, get away from the politics. But I feel like as a Twitch streamer, you should voice out what is going on. Hence why I've been wanting to do a podcast on Twitch.
Well,
yeah.
Well, not to mention, there's a lot of bread tubers that use Twitch for their how they do their videos on YouTube and Twitch. Is they'll respond to videos like Bosch, Xanderhall, and the like. They'll respond to videos live.
Yeah, because it's like, I know a lot of friends that Twitch stream, and they Twitch stream to get away from the politics. But it's like, Twitch is a platform just like any other platform on the internet, like YouTube, like Twitter, like Facebook gaming, like Facebook like all the likes of that. And hello, Leela.
Hey, Leela.
We're getting to the part of Karens on this podcast because
I still wanted to finish off my point about Rush V, but I kind of lost track of what it was. What were we talking about just before that?
Just Twitch as a platform that
no, before Twitch. Before Twitch. Because I kind of want to finish my point with Rush V and the rape apologist. The topic we were talking about beforehand with about
BLM. Fed and Lily Pichu and Yvonne.
No. It's about the BLM protest somewhere with police. Oh, now I remember. Okay, so I was talking about the culture tradition and the kind of how they see power. Well, thing about it is they have to create these traditions that don't exist. Like Rush V created this thing called neo-masculinity. Going back to the Greek times where men were men and women were women. Except ancient Greece didn't have that. Ancient Greece was not heteronormative. It wasn't.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of like that's what I was kind of going with. Was basically H. Bomber Guy's kind of the way he did it was he referenced it. Trying to go back to a fictional time is like trying to go back to the Garden of Eden or to the womb. Basically, these people, if they cannot find a time in which their traditional values were upheld, they will make one. And so this time where, cops were good and everyone obeyed the laws except for criminals, kind of that thing. There's a lot. To point out another video from the alt-right playbook with Innuendo Studios, I Hate Mondays. Goes a little bit more in depth with everything like that. And it's definitely a good watch.
Just switch my title. Freaking was on my last title. Okay. Let's move on to the next topic because Karens have been blowing up on Twitter. Tomorrow.
I work at Walmart. This is like a month ago, and we were just getting toilet paper back on the shelves. And I work what's called OGP, which is basically you make an order, you either come pick it up or you have somebody deliver it to you. If you come pick it up, you can actually remove things from your order, basically substitutions or stuff like that. Well, this is back in before we actually had, the good toilet paper.
Yeah.
When we had like these Walmart brand toilet paper. Not great value, Walmart. It was just it was the packaging was just like bland. And
people were still hoarding those.
Well, the Karen in this one of my coworkers was facing this Karen, and she rejected the toilet paper because it wasn't what she wanted. Imagine that.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, around at that point, for me, it was just get any toilet paper you can see because toilet papers were coming as gold at the time.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, yet these people go like, it's not the brand I want. It's like, ma'am, there's no toilet papers anywhere. Just find what you see and grab it. Who cares if it's freaking sandpaper if you have to wipe with that?
Sandpaper's a bridge too far for me. I like being able to sit down after I wipe. And, yeah. Anyways.
So, from your story of your Karen topic, or your Karen story, there's a Karen that showed up in San Diego because she was wanting to get her Starbucks coffee. And they denied her service because she wasn't wearing a mask, obviously. Yeah. And then she comes in and says, you're not denying me, you're not giving me service. I'm going to come back and take a picture of you and make you accountable and report you to the police. And then what happens after that is the guy that she took a picture of got a GoFundMe and raised over $30,000. And it's helped the guy out. Now she's like, oh, because I made this guy raise $30,000, I want some of that money too, and sues the guy. Which is just, oh my god, why? How entitled are you to ask for money when you obviously attacked the innocent Starbucks employee?
Oh, I have a feeling this is going to be a double dipping on this one. First off, he got a GoFundMe because of her, and if she sues him, he's probably going to countersue for some money too. And if he wins his case, which is probably more than likely, he will have double dipped because of her.
Yeah, there's been a lot of Karens recently because of the ongoing pandemic. They're sticking out like sore thumbs. Whoa. And there's a lot of Karen stories I've been reading. There's another one where this Karen...
Drink water, bitches.
Hydrate. Anyone got hydrate? I have a hydrate one if you guys want to redeem that. I'm gonna have to actually drink some water. So like all these Karen stories, like there's another one in West Hollywood, I think. There's this Karen that got denied of service because she wasn't wearing her mask, and they kicked her out, and then apparently people found out she... Oh, hello, Mia. Welcome to my stream. This is my first ever podcast. Whatever me and Quirky Bard says is don't ever take it too harshly. This is just our worldview. This is just a normal podcast. Next time we'll do more video game podcasts.
Oh yeah.
This is just first podcast, and we're going in all the way.
Yeah, I think we should kind of classify this as the Talk Warriors. We might want to come up with a new moniker for each one of them, for our Talk Warrior, sort of like our Rant Sonas.
Let me change the titles. This is now officially going to be called the Talk Warriors podcast.
Awesome! I am easily amused. But
so, like, this is like our first podcast. Like, I know you're just here to say hi, but like, with our first podcast, we either go strong or go home. And talking politics is the number one biggest issue in America, and I feel like it needs a voice to be said on whatever platform, neither on YouTube or Twitch. And we talked about the two Twitch streamers just like 30 minutes ago.
Yeah,
Dr. Disrespect and Fed. And I feel like there's been Twitch streamers I saw that were talking about this issue too, and it's like, I'm a small Twitch streamer, I get it, but small Twitch streamers should at least have a say.
Hey, I mean, to unrelated incident, Arlo got his start by criticizing Paper Mario. Like, just a small little... So it could be just about anything that can get us going. Well, anyways, to kind of go back to our original our topic we're talking about right now with Karens, here's kind of the bad thing, and this is where it's going to tie in with the police brutality. This is nothing new.
Except it's been an ongoing thing.
Well, back in the days of Jim Crow, it was less about, this guy, these people are having a barbecue. It went so far as, this guy looked at me wrong. And in comes the Triple K with their hoods, and all of a sudden, you got some strange fruit.
And I just say this, when I was down in San Diego, I was just walking down in Old Town, and there was this Hispanic kid, and he was going like, ni hao to me in front of my face, and he was a fucking waiter in a fucking restaurant. And I gave him a dirty look, like, just because I'm Asian, you say ni hao. Like, that gets to the point of racism. I know you are a minority too, but like that is just disrespectful.
Yeah, it definitely is disrespectful.
Like if you're a close friend of mine and you say that stuff, I'll just blow it off and I'll just attack you back because you're my friend. You get where I'm coming from, right? It's like if you're a friend, it's gonna be like bantering against each other. But if it's a random stranger saying that, that is utter disrespect to me.
And I'm going to let you know I'm going to use a lot of different references to media because that's kind of how I kind of. It's something I could show you. This one's going back to King of the Hill with I don't know the name of the family, but they were Laotian, and so Hank and his 4 buddies were like, "So, are you Chinese or are you Japanese?" And he goes, "I'm Laotian. I come from Laos." And so they couldn't get it through their mind of, because that's how kind of that's how kind of their thinking was they knew of China, they knew of Japan, they didn't know of Laos, they didn't know of Korea. It did not get them through their heads. Meanwhile, Hank's father, who was a veteran who fought in Korea and lost half of his legs to them, it's like he's Laotian for Laos. So it's just like. I mean, King of the Hill is probably honestly one of the best commentaries on conservatism. It's not overly it's not critical, but it's not. I mean, because it's from Mike Judge, who created the Beavis and Butthead series, so it's not. It's kind of like it definitely paints conservatives in a good light. And it's sort of like this whole.
There are conservatives that are good people. I will tell you that for sure. It's just the bad apples are what do you call it? What stands out the most is like I know there's friendly, good people on the Conservative Party. I know this for a fact. Yet it's just the people that are the most toxic in the human race are what is giving them bad light. I'm just saying because I don't want to bring like crap shit talk on the other party. I don't want to do that. Both parties have bad shit on both sides, but I'm just saying like it's just people like it's the people, not the party.
Here's something that again this comes from Innuendo Studios. About that kind of deals with fascism. Basically, neither side is immune to their extremists. Neither side is immune to fascism. Because, I mean, left-wing fascism, communism. Easily communism. I am strictly abhorrent to communism as a political structure, so long as we're in control of it. But conservatism is where fascism maps most cleanly.
Mia commented, there's a ton of deadly levels of ignorant racism on the right. Yeah.
Yeah, there is. I mean, like I said, communism is not a good structure either, and that's our fascism right there. That's where we kind of stand.
Woke left and middle are very ignorant and harmful more than helpful too. Yeah, both sides are not on what do you call it? Both sides are not like perfect. Both sides have major faults.
Yeah.
And that's where the issue lies, where America is at fault at this point. Because
go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I feel like it's like America is the party system. It's the party system that is wrong to me.
Well, back in the 60s, we still had the 2 parties, but here's the thing: we technically had 4 parties. you had the liberal Democrats, liberal Republicans, and then you had the conservative Democrats and the conservative Republicans. You could thank Barry Goldwater for that. Because ultimately, what happened was, after the Civil Rights Act was passed by a Democratic president, being voted unanimously by liberals of both parties. I mean, Pauly Dice did a really good video on this as well, about the parties not switching ever, because that's blatant bull. But anyways, that's when Barry Goldwater created the Southern strategy, which was to convert the South to Republicans. And the next election, he, I think Lyndon B. Johnson still won the re-election, but this is the first time we saw unification of the South again under a specific candidate, and that was the Republican candidate.
Miro, honestly, the best book I've seen get to the root of the issue would anger so many people because it considers just too inflammatory to people who don't feel they should change.
Wait,
yeah.
What book?
What's the book?
Yeah. Please let not be the Turner Diaries. Please not the Turner Diaries.
We're getting heavily off topic, but we want the answer on what book that is.
Yeah. Oh, basically, when I'm asking if it's not, I'm hoping it's not the Turner Diaries, because that, if you
White Fragility by Robin Angelo.
Ah, okay. I have to look at that book. I have to put that on my reading log now.
Let's go back to Karen's, because this is somewhat back on this.
Yeah, let's go back on topic. But yeah.
Karen is like the incident in North Hollywood. There was a woman that didn't wear a mask, and they escorted her out of the market, and they said, like, ma'am, you need to wear a mask to shop. And then she was like, and the story goes that she told all the workers that they were liberal pigs, and it's like, what? It's just follow the rules. You're just putting a cloth on your face. How hard is that? You save a life by doing it if you think about it that way.
The United States
the
biggest problem with the United States is that we have okay, for those of you, there is a thing called the Overton window. It was created by a political strategist, of which the thing was named after, and it's basically kind of where the political discourse is aligned to. And right now, our Overton window is still pretty much heavily on the right. And this really became apparent during 2010, during the midterms, in which everything switched from being liberal to conservative. And a lot of the things is that, with this, is that we've never really kind of, I guess, exercised our demons. We've always been kind of we've had this racism and this whole prejudice within us. And a lot of this stems back to the whole Civil War, in which it was, to the North, it was a war about a bunch of people who were obstinately trying to hold on to their slaves. And it's regarded heavily in their own declarations of that this is all about slavery. And yet when they lost the war, they rebranded it as the War of Northern Aggression. That the Northerners were trying to strip them of their way of life. The lost cause, so to speak. And so this kind of echoes from that. Hell, look at Florida. They were, oh my god, Florida. I will not be muzzled like a mad dog. It's like,
Mia said, yeah, science is a political thing now, I guess. But I found another Karen on Twitter. If you guys
oh
want to
no,
see this, I will be screen sharing this.
oh no.
Let's see here. Where are you? Where's my Google Chrome?
Yeah, I mean, this. We have
Are
to.
you Google Chrome? Oh no, that's
Nope.
not it. Then I'm gonna. It's on my other window. Hold on.
Google.com.
Right here. This is. I like how I have two monitors because this is very professional podcast type. You see this?
Okay, let's watch it. Let's do this in real time. Betcha she really rails against participation trophies.
Yeah, there was another Karen sighting. Twitter is having a freaking blast right now. Like,
Well, yeah.
this is a problem not with like this is a problem with people not trying to like it's just wear a mask. How hard is that? And yet there's like people that just don't want to comply with that, which is like
America.
stupidest thing I've heard.
It's America.
It's like, oh, if I wear my mask, my freedom is gone. It's like, what freedom? You're just wearing a mask to help others, because it's at this point, if you don't wear a mask, people die.
Well, here's the thing: they don't care. They don't care unless it affects them. I mean, think about it. The country singer. One of the biggest things about the country singer that happened in the Las Vegas shooting, he didn't come out as pro gun control until after that event happened.
I'll just say this in stream. I wear a mask. This is what I always wear when I go outside. Sometimes I forget it. I feel bad whenever I do.
Well, in Nevada, it's becoming more mandatory to wear them. I almost couldn't ride a bus because I had taken one off. I will admit, it does feel a little bit more awkward to wear, but at the same time, it beats the alternative. I'd rather be slightly discomforted by a mask than be majorly discomforted by a breathing tube.
Oh shoot! We were talking about the Lily Pichu Yvonne incident, right?
Oh no,
we're going back onto the topic of this. There's a statement that just came out from one of the sexual conduct happened to Lily Pichu. Another one.
Oh.
The guy that sexually harassed Lily Pichu out in Taiwan. This was years ago. Has now put out his own statement. Should I read on stream?
If you want to. I mean, we definitely do breaking news.
Chris Chen, the old manager of Offline TV. Oh, hold on. Mia said, I see how everything is still reopening, even though we are back to our peak COVID numbers. And I'm like, what is happening? Very true. What is happening?
Basically, America has this whole idea of American exceptionalism. And the fact that we don't, honestly, Donald Trump saying, oh, it's okay, it's just like the flu. It's not going to be bad, it's going to be the flu. Everything's going to be fine, 0 cases. It's just like, fuck, dude.
This is breaking, actually. This came out from one of the sexual conducts from the girl who got sexually harassed by her old manager. My statement: I have been deeply ashamed and disappointed in myself in the past 3 years since the incident. There is no excuse for what happened. I don't care if I was blackout drunk. That just doesn't justify my behavior that night. I knew drinking was a problem in my life, and I regret not fixing it before I got to this. I want to be absolutely clear. This clarification is not a defense in what I did. and is not a way to minimize what happened, but I want to provide the context to everything occurred. What I did was despicable and terrible. Lily Pichu moving into the house was the result of some negative actions I had learned about her ex-boyfriend, who was still living with at the time. So Lily Pichu's ex-boyfriend before Michael Reeves was Albert. This is just little context I'm going to throw in.
Honestly,
because this is breaking for the actual guy that sexually harassed Lily Pichu has now put out his statement.
well, it's honestly the fact that he's admitting there's an issue, and the fact that he's not trying to victim blame, is a huge step for me. Is a huge step up for me. For me, it's honestly I've always been a very big voucher for truth and for honesty. If you fuck up, you should own it. And there's this thing, especially within certain people, that it's better to be strong and wrong than weak and right. If you change your opinion, you're no longer on solid footing. But if you double down, well. But that's the thing. To me, if you're going to double down on something that's wrong, you're essentially going to you're standing on a crumbling cliff. Eventually, it's going to break, and ultimately, it's going to come down while you're on it if you don't step, if you don't change your position, if you don't move, you're gone. Because eventually you're going to put yourself in a position to where you can't reliably defend yourself. And so for somebody to say, yeah, I fucked up, it's time for me to fix that, is good. In my opinion.
So back to the statement, was it? I had learned about her ex-boyfriend she was living with at the time. It was clear she needed to get away from that environment. The decision of her moving wasn't entirely mine. I consulted with members of my management company, and we all strongly agreed it was best for her to move. Scara was supposed to be involved in the Taiwan campaign as well, but the brand changed their mind last minute and didn't require Scara to go. As for the night of the incident, I believe in Lily's recollection is it 100%, and do not dispute any of it. At least he is upfront about it, and he's not trying to defend himself.
Well, he's coming clean, and that's always a good thing. He's basically saying, I fucked up, I know I did. And that's always a good thing when somebody can do that. Like I said, that's kind of what I'm a proponent of, is people, coming clean.
We were both out drinking heavily that night and ended up in my hotel room. I don't remember her losing her key, but I trust her account of me inviting her to my room where we talked more. I had an immediate lack of reaction the next morning because I was unaware of exactly what happened. I was under the impression we just passed out after talking. I believe I had my boxers on because that's how I normally sleep. She was next to me, but I didn't have my arms and legs wrapped around her. I do believe her when she says that they were when we were fully asleep, though. Lily confirmed that the interaction did not go any further. I did not try to remove her clothes. I did not attempt to have sex with her. It doesn't make my actions excusable, but I hope this provides a clear picture. Later that day, Lily and I had a conversation about it, and I didn't pretend that nothing happened. I genuinely was not even aware of my action. She told me what happened, and I apologized in person. I grasped the severity of the situation. She told me that she would get over it and that we would move on. I followed up that conversation by writing her an email. I wanted to say more things in person, but I communicate better through writing as it is easier for me to convey my thoughts. In the email to her,
That's something I can understand. I'm more of an eloquent writer than I am a speaker.
In my email to her, I acknowledged what happened and wanted to hold myself accountable. I did also recognize the severity of my action, especially the fact that I moved her into the house to leave a toxic environment, but then betrayed her trust afterwards. Okay, for the backstory, for the people that don't know who Lily Pichu is, she's a musician and a gamer, and she's been through a lot. She's been, what do you call it, cheated on. She's now this allegation. Uh, she's I feel like she's one of the female streamers where she gets taken advantage of by males, and that should not be a thing within the Twitch industry.
That should not be, no. Shouldn't be a thing in real life. It really shouldn't.
And now that this has all come to light from yesterday,
yeah,
this violation of my own personal moral will go on to haunt me to this day. Further in the email, I offered to resign as her manager and move out of the house, and did not want her to feel any discomfort. So, Chris Chen moving out of the house was, I believe, in 2017. So this was when her manager finally moved out of the offline TV house. She again told me she still wanted to work together and move on from the incident. I saw this as an opportunity to redeem myself. I am forever grateful to Lily for giving me that second chance. So she has forgiven him. She's thought through his mistakes, and I applaud him for that.
Yeah, it's hard to. It really is kind of hard to admit when we've made fault, because we are kind of a proud species of animal. We generally tend to want to think of ourselves as better. But we can come down, we can admit our faults. That's a good thing.
If any of this happening on Twitch should be a reminder to big or small Twitch streamers that if you go to TwitchCon and decide to sexually harass every female streamer you see, that should get you banned off Twitch.
Agree.
Like, full stop. Like,
hard agree.
Like Dr. Disrespect's time when he was streaming in a fucking restroom. He should have been banned permanently, full.
Yeah, and going back to Dr. Disrespect briefly, that might be something similar to that we just don't. I mean, we can speculate all we want to, but it's until the information comes out that we can't. But then again, if it's what we think it is, there might be very good reason for it. And so, kind of, let's go ahead and go back on topic. That's a nice break.
Finish reading this.
So, what was our next topic after Karen's?
I'll say the Asian flu, the Kung flu that's been coming out.
Oh, yeah. Gotta love our fucking president.
I mean, any other candidate would never call that Kung flu. I'm just saying this in terms of that is pure racism. Coming from an Asian myself, if I walk down the streets in downtown LA and some random person goes like, "Do you have the Kung flu?" then what would my reaction be? Because that is disrespectful. That hurts the person. Even on Twitch, if someone says, "Do you have the Chinese flu or the Chinese virus?" you will understand that is a complete ban, and this is a disrespectful behavior online or offline, and it should be known otherwise.
Yeah, because this is not a virus. Does not know. Does not really care for ethnicity. It doesn't care for social status. It doesn't care for anything. The only thing that social status will prevent you from being will protect you from is basically the ability for you to self isolate. But here's something. It's just, and I mean, no other candidate would have said something like this. But here's the funny thing, and here's the thing that's really fucked up. Imagine if it were President Clinton, and this was happening. We would almost. I mean, I'm pretty sure we would be having very similar conversations. We wouldn't be having the whole kung flu or whatnot kind of thing, because Hillary Clinton would do that. Hillary Clinton would be up on the case. Honestly, we would probably have roughly the same numbers as Japan had with their first wave. You know, if we did have more than 10,000 deaths, it wouldn't have been on her. She would have done everything right.
Look at this, like 10,000 versus 100,000. These are lives lost. Like many people say, like I know these are just numbers, but those are numbers of dead human beings.
Yeah, it's...
And 100,000 compared to just 10,000 dead, that's 100,000 people that lost their lives over a virus like this.
Now, it may look as if so it's just less than 1%. We have 340 million people. But the thing is, the deaths aren't slowing down. In fact, they're rapidly increasing. I mean, and the cases are in the millions. The cases are in the millions. I mean, right now, the cases are what? In the...
Let me check the numbers.
Yeah. Right now, the cases aren't in the hundreds of thousands. They're in the millions.
Worldwide. Let's see the worldwide number. There's 4 million active cases worldwide.
So 4 million active cases right now. Over how many cases total?
Over 6 million cases that are closed.
Okay, so a total of 9 million cases. The 10 million cases altogether.
Mm-hmm.
6 million closed, 4 million open. How many do we have here in America?
Okay. In America, we have the most cases out of every country. 2 million out of the 4 million. Half of it
so
comes
we have
from the
half
United
the population. We have half the sick population, and we have the most deaths.
At
America.
The current rate of this podcast, the death rate is at 121,000.
Yeah. As of 6 p.m. June 28th. And it doesn't look like it's going to slow down.
Because in the top 3 numbers that are coming out of the most cases that are, taking another, upward hill on the virus again, it's California, Texas, Florida, Georgia, and Arizona.
Well, California really kind of doesn't really
California, we're a big population, so it's it to be expected.
But Texas and other states like that?
Because California is having more new cases again, Governor Newsom is now closed, the bars down, and I hear these people on Twitter going like, hey, you're getting rid of our freedom to go to bars? Because we're up at 5,000 per day, and it's exponentially growing. So exponentially means 5,000 today could be 10,000 tomorrow.
Exponentially is basically a curve.
Yeah.
It's not a steady line, it's a curve.
So it could be double that of 5,000.
And the worst thing too is that basically the basic problem with these people is that basically there is a saying, the freedom to swing my fist ends at your face. Essentially meaning that as long as it doesn't affect anyone else, my action shouldn't matter. But once it starts But when it starts affecting people, it stops being a freedom. These
But
people.
for me, like I personally don't go to bars because I'm not a social bee.
Me neither. Me neither.
I would rather just buy beer and chug it while I stream while I play video games. That is the way I would do it because that's how I want to interact with the Twitch stream. I would rather be drunk and you guys, laugh at me for it than making stupid decisions on my life drunk out in public.
Yeah.
And these people want to be drunk out in public while trying to spread the virus is just mind blowing to me.
Basically, they want the freedom to be able to hit people in the face without repercussion, and that's basically this thing with the privilege that a lot of these people had is that, and this ties back to Karen's. This ties back to Karen's. Is basically the world should bend over backwards for them and their mediocrity. It's not even about being great. It's basically it's okay to be mediocre. Basically, now I'm not saying for all white people, but there are a certain percentage of people who the only thing they have going for them is the color of their skin. And those are the people I'm referring to as the mediocre. Basically, they only have the skin color. There are plenty of talented people. There are plenty of people who are massively talented who happen to have the same skin color. But they got by on their talent. It's these people like there was a case back in the day of a woman named Abigail Fisher, a woman who didn't get into Harvard, but was complaining about the 47 students that got in that had lower scores than her. She was complaining about of the 47, there were 5 black people who got in there, and she claimed, that it was her privilege because she got better test scores than they did. But here's the thing: if I had $300 million, if I had 2 people who had $300 million in investments, and I saw the one guy had $350 million in beginning investments and only got $300 million, versus the guy that had $200 million and got $300 million, I'm gonna go with the guy that started off with $200 million. Now, this is of course allegory towards scores. A person that has a 3.0 from a school that averaged 2.0 versus a person who got a 3.0 from a 3.5 average school, it's going to be different. That 3.0 student from the 3.5 is the slacker. They had all the tools needed to succeed and be among the average, but they squandered it. They're the slackers. Meanwhile, you had a person who didn't have the tools, who succeeded in spite of those tools that they were given, who managed to take lemons and turn them into a lemon farm. Not just lemonade, but they have a full lemon farm that they can make infinite lemonade from.
We're on the 1 hour mark.
Oh yeah, we're past the 1 hour. We're minute 8.
I think I really think this is a good mark to end actual really political podcast. This is our first one. If we ever do a second one, it's gonna be for sure video games. There's tons of video games coming out holiday season.
Oh yeah.
So
well,
when we do the next podcast, it's gonna be more friendlier. It's gonna be more video game oriented. This was just dipping our foot into the podcast scene.
Yeah, we're dipping our feet in the bread tube. So this is gonna be tabled. If we do something like this again, it will be under the label of Talk Warriors, and we'll probably have our own different. We won't go by Quirky Bard and Pun Master for this one. We're probably gonna discuss this off camera and have more more nuanced name for it. But
If I could find out how to get this podcast onto Spotify, I will make this a Spotify, get this into actual Spotify.
Yeah, that'd probably be a good place for it. But anyways, yeah, it's definitely been an experience, and I have definitely want to have to do this again.
If we can get more people that are more video game stuff, we can invite more people to talk about video game topics. If they want to join, just hit me up on Discord.
We have a Discord
very
channel.
Active.
Yeah, we have
the Fully Suited Jacks. Just hit me or Jacob on Fully Suited if you want to talk about video game. If you want to talk about things of nature of celebrities you want to talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We could also set up a different channel for Talk Warriors. For that for our more political stuff. But anyways.
Yeah.
Do you want to go ahead with the outro? Yeah.
Yeah, sure. So, I wouldn't say this is the Fully Suited Jacks. This is the Talk Warriors. What's it?
Yeah, Talk Warriors.
The Talk Warrior podcast.
Yeah, this will be featured for the time being. This will be featured on the Fully Suited Jacks, under Talk Warriors. But as soon as I get a chance to, or even if you want to do this, we can set up a different channel for Talk Warriors.
Yeah, and I'll look into how to get this on Spotify.
Mm-hmm.
But this is the Talk Warriors podcast. Sorry if this was heavily political, but it needs to be said. Small streamers do not have the voice. They want to talk about stuff, but they're too scared to. So I guess I'll be the first one on Twitch to talk my voice, and I hope many other people follow suit, because let's say if they want to talk about the Black Lives Matter, they didn't join the Black Lives Matter protest, give them a platform like Twitch to talk about their voice. It's a platform. It's not just a place to play video games.
Yeah. Also, if anyone's wondering about my eyes going over here, my camera's right here and my TV is right next to me, so I'm actually peering at the screen. So don't think I'm rolling my eyes or anything. It's just I have a very hard time kind of staring in one direction all the time. So, yeah. Anyways, so let's go ahead. Last things, of course, for the outro, there's a few things I want to say. Mainly, Black Lives Matter, trans rights are human rights, and injustice for one is injustice for all. We cannot truly consider ourselves a just society if there are any people treated unjustly in it.
I like how you ended that.
Thank you.
So, thank you for joining my first ever podcast. We will have more special guests friends and people that want to voice their opinions. I know I'm a nobody on Twitch. I'm just a small affiliate on Twitch, but
I'm nothing on Twitch.
If there's a way for people to talk about their mind, talk about what they want to talk about, voice their things out in public, I want to be one of that people on Twitch where where people can voice their opinion, their political view, whatever. I want to be that sort of thing to, you get where I'm coming from, right? It's
yes.
It's a place to voice. It's not just, I have to be a big YouTuber to make a podcast. Anybody can do it. It's just, I want to, be one of the first small Twitch streamers to actually start voicing things out, start talking about stuff that is going on. I get it's hard to talk with people about some things, but it's got to be talked about. It's got to be out in public.
Remember, it wasn't the thousands and thousands of Who's in Whoville that saved them. It was one little Who, the smallest of the small, JoJo, who simply said, "Yup." That's what we got to do. We got to get up to the Sour Kangaroos, the inhabitants of Jungle of Newell, and we've got to yell our yup.
So, to the people who are watching my Twitch, to the 2 viewers, thank you. Thank you for sticking around. We will do more lighter topics on podcasts. We'll bring more people. So thank you for hanging out with me and Jake. Hopefully there will be more, more guests, more people who feel like they need their voice heard. Like, this is a platform. I'm not Joe Rogan. I'm not Ethan Klein. I'm just an Asian boy that want to get his voice heard.
Yeah. And with
that, thank you for watching. Thank you for being in the podcast.
Thank you for joining Talk Warriors. Stay strong and stay loud.
And stay healthy.
That too.
Where is ending?